Guys, we have massive news coming out for Palantir. In March, I made a video talking about Palantir is partnering with Google, and Google is recommending its clients to use Palantir Foundry. Well, last night an article came out, and the article reads, Palantir Foundry services now available on Google Cloud. First of all, I wanted to give a huge shout out to this gentleman. His name is Rachikabu, and I'm sorry for butchering his name. This guy does the most Palantir research, period. If you have Twitter, definitely follow this man. If you don't have Twitter, you should probably download Twitter and follow this man. He does the most in-depth Palantir research than anybody else that I know. The Palantir community in general is huge, and we have a lot of people in the community that are finding these articles faster than it even comes out in the public eye. So it's at RACCHIKABU. Definitely give this guy a follow. So he found this article, and the article reads, Palantir's Foundry Services is now available on Google Cloud as per SiliconANGEL. The problem is when you click on it, it now says that this page cannot be found. I was reading the article yesterday when it first came out, and yes, it definitely opened it up, which means that this is most likely a leaked article. But beneficial for us, we have Raichu, who was able to translate a lot of this article in his tweets. He writes in Japanese, so I'm gonna have to translate it. Google uses Foundry to enable business to quickly build 360-degree views of key business objects and leverage business applications to make more effective decisions. Foundry on Google Cloud. The advantage of this is that companies will be able to use many services to enhance their data analytic operations. By implementing Foundry's inventory management workflow with Google Cloud's recommendations, AI prediction services, retailers will be able to predict out of stock of popular products, respond to supply chain distributions, and find all data on sales, inventory, etc. by centralized management grocery stores, reduce waste, and generate high profits. Let's just break down and unpack what this part of the article said. And again, the article was leaked. It's no longer out, which is so interesting in itself. AI prediction services, retail will be able to predict out of stock popular products, respond to supply chain distributions, and find all data, sales on inventory. If you read what I just said, right? If you pay close attention to what I just read from this article, it's clear to see that we have a problem in the world economy. We have a problem in the United States economy. Big businesses must increase their profit margins. Big businesses must stop hemorrhaging money. Public big business must answer to shareholders, and private big business must answer to their own local boards. Make no mistake about it, we are in a local recession, we are in a country recession, we are in a global recession. And there's a lot of fear about stagnation, where the entire global market could not be growing, but inflation remains high, and that sucks and leads to possibly a depression in the future. When we get out of this, nobody knows, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is what it is. Later on today, we will have results from the FOMC meeting. We're probably going to get a 75 basis points rate hike. The stock market is probably going to go down when this happens. It's vital to be using platforms like Foundry. It's vital. And that's why Google went from suggesting their clients to use Foundry to now working with Foundry on Google Cloud. I believe that in the future, in order to be as efficient as possible and try to survive bankruptcy, try to survive what's about to happen in our economy, companies must use Palantir Foundry. And they're still so under the radar. Look, not all companies can just go work with Google Cloud. Not all companies can work with Amazon AWS. It doesn't just happen. And seldomly does that happen, and you have a company that can work with the United States government and their allies and bidding on this nearly $1 billion contract over the next 10 years with NHS. If you guys still have doubt about Palantir, man, I think you guys should do more research. He keeps translating the actual article. In addition, Google will allow banks to use Foundry in connection with Google Cloud services to aggregate transaction data into a single repository and better detect fraud and money laundering. Google Cloud will analyze this data and provide the AI tools needed to find patterns of potential fraudulent transactions. Guys, I don't really know what else to say. Palantir is an absolute beast. This was a leaked article. This is all you need to know. Palantir is working with all the mega big boys. Palantir is making all the big boys better. Eventually, Palantir is going to move down to the really big companies, not just these mega cap companies. Then they're going to move down to the mid-sized companies, small-sized companies. And who knows, maybe they're going to have platforms for everyday users like myself and you. They're breaking down their entire Palantir Foundry platform. So remember, Palantir is not a small piece of the pie. Palantir is the entire pie. When you use Palantir Foundry, it's an entire enterprise. It's not just one little piece. That is great, but it might also be the problem. That's why Palantir, the average contract is $6.5 million. It's expensive to use Palantir, don't get me wrong. If they can somehow condense what they do and offer small pieces of what they do in the future, they're going to grow their business exponentially. And this is what myself and a lot of the other Palantir bulls are hoping for. This is the bull case scenario, right? We massively increase the need for Palantir Gotham, Palantir Foundry for government, both local and abroad, and we massively increase the need for all companies to use Palantir. Now, Palantir was built for good times and bad times, as Dr. Karp always says. What does that mean? That means when things are effed up like they are right now with not only the United States, but the entire world market, you need ways to reduce waste. You need ways to make yourself more efficient. You need ways to increase your margins. And this is where Palantir comes in. And the more people are going to use Palantir, the more there's going to be reports of Palantir helping out companies, the more Palantir is going to be adopted by more and more companies. And then Palantir is going to moon up. This is the moon case scenario that all of us Palantir people are talking about, that everybody kind of laughs at us that don't understand what Palantir does. Why? Because we have Twitter accounts like Reiku. We have a bunch of other Twitter accounts. We have great YouTubers. We have really smart people that are finding all this information and making art and making content around this information. Why? The everyday person, the everyday analyst, the seeking alpha guys, these guys don't use most of their day to analyze just one thing. They're analyzing hundreds of different companies and they're just looking what's the best thing to click on, what's going to get the most reads, because those publications are also suffering. So they're very biased in what they write. So us, the Palantir community, we stick together, we're hardcore, and we truly believe in this product. And not everybody can work with Google. Not everybody can work with Amazon. Not everybody can work with the government. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over again. Thank you.